very good evening and welcome to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Yes, it's me, Jeremy Kyle. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, 8 Republican presidential candidates went to battle last night. The winner, though, somehow, was the elephant not in the room. Former President Donald Trump skipped the debate. Tonight, he's heading to Fulton County Jail in Georgia, where he'll be arrested and will pose for a mugshot that's set to become one of the most iconic images in world history. And that splitting legal headache is just one of the reasons why his battle for second place still matters. It's a big if. If Trump drops out or drops dead, one of these people will go head-to-head with a president who's visibly falling apart. And that means one of these people could well become the leader of the free world.
Is there anyone on stage who would not support the increase of more funding to Ukraine?
We would
not support it.
I will have Europe pull their weight. Right now, they're not doing that.
Let us be honest as Republicans. I'm the only person on the stage who isn't bought and paid for, so I can say this. The climate change agenda is a hoax.
I've had enough already tonight of a guy who sounds like ChatGPT standing up here.
You want to go and defund Israel? You want to
okay, let me address that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Go and give
I'm going to address each of those right now.
You have no foreign policy experience, and it shows.
And you know,
now is not the time for on-the-job training. We don't need to bring in a rookie. We don't need to bring in people without experience.
If former President Trump is convicted in a court of law, would you still support him as your party's choice?
Six of the 8. Governor Ron DeSantis is the only contender who's anywhere near Trump in the polls. But ever since he first dared to trash Trump in an interview with a certain Mr. Morgan, you might recall, it's been Don against Ron. And no prizes for guessing who's winning that fight. Instead, the candidate everyone's now talking about is the man who can't stop talking. Another uncensored regular, Vivek Ramaswamy. He's winning over Trump's supporters, and you can see why.
let's just speak the truth, okay? President Trump, I believe, was the best president of the 21st century. It's a fact. And Chris Christie, honest to God, your claim that Donald Trump is motivated by vengeance and grievance would be a lot more credible if your entire campaign were not based on vengeance and grievance against one man.
Now, Trump may well have been a great president, and plenty of people would agree with that, but can he really be a great president, potentially from behind bars? And can anybody in the Republican Party stop him from winning? For more on this, I'm joined by Atlanta-based lawyer Rachel Kaufman. Rachel, thank you for joining me on Piers Morgan Uncensored. Just to give us a flavour, what is the atmosphere like right now in Atlanta, Georgia, where for the fourth time the ex-president Donald Trump's about to be facing, well, more charges? What's it like there?
Well, my understanding is that there's people lined up outside of the jail. Like, there's people protesting Trump being forced to surrender. There's people who are there cheering on the effort of the prosecutor in furtherance of the prosecution of Donald Trump and the other 18 co-defendants. I think by having him turn himself in and requiring him to take a mugshot, I think that the Fulton County DA is signaling to the world that it's different in Georgia. He's not going to get treated like he's the former president.
Rachel, is this the first time that Trump will have to provide that mugshot? Because, as I said in the introduction, that will become an iconic image for the ages, won't it?
Absolutely. You just kind of wonder if he's thinking about what he's going to do, how he's going to pose. And even in the moment when someone snaps a photo of you, some people's instinct is to smile. I'm curious the kind of face he'll make. We saw what Rudy Giuliani's face looked like. He looked very angry and bitter to be there. There was Miss Ellis, one of the other co-defendants, is smiling, and it looks like a headshot. Like for an actor looking for work.
It is extraordinary for us in the United Kingdom. I mean, this is the most extraordinary thing that we will follow and follow. You know, an ex-president about to be indicted for the fourth time, a man who publicly said some weeks ago, "Give me one more and I'll make it to the White House again," played out in front of 300 million people. And Rachel, I just wanted some idea, because we're loving every minute of this. Time scale for this afternoon? When are we expecting the Donald to sweep into Fulton?
I expect he'll be there in the next hour. I don't think that he'll go there in the early evening. I think that it'll be between, I don't know, between 3 and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But because there's already a bond worked out, he probably won't spend that much time there. So I want to say that, you know, they're saying that he's not going to get any special treatment. And in many ways, he's not. He's going to feel the full force of the law in a way that I don't believe he's felt it with the other 3 indictments. This is a serious, serious prosecution. However, most people who are charged with felonies, with several felonies in Fulton County, Georgia, would usually have to turn themselves in, would not have the opportunity to have a bond worked out prior to surrendering, and would have to sit in the jail, which is known for patterns of severe abuse and neglect of inmates in the jail. He will not have to sit there overnight like the average inmate and wait for a first appearance calendar the next day when a judge could decide whether or not to grant bond.
No, I mean, there is a slight difference. He's going to fly in on his private jet, swarmed with a special service, a secret service, and go in there. We've heard that some of this jail is quite rough, but you're saying it's a massive moment. We will follow it. And Rachel, thank you so much. I mean, this is one of those things that we are all fascinated about, and we will bring it to you live on Talk. Thank you so much indeed. Let's now bring in Donald Trump's former spokesperson, Erin, Elmore, and former Republican 2020 presidential candidate Joe Walsh for their take on this. If I could start with you, Erin. It's an extraordinary thing to ask you, right? Let's start with the debate before we talk about Atlanta, Georgia. This man doesn't even need to turn up, and he's going to win. I mean, I only want to ask this. I don't want to disrespect anybody. What does this say about American politics? I mean, this country is messed, but we are watching this open-mouthed. Open-mouthed.
Well, I don't think that Donald Trump needs to show up for a debate. He's proven himself. He was the president of the United States. Our current president hasn't agreed to any debates with RFK Jr., so I don't think that there's that much dissimilarity there. But why would President Trump bother to show up for a debate when he's the clear frontrunner by some polls, 20, 30%? There's just no need for it. There's absolutely no need. He's the title fight on that boxing card. He's not going to fight with the welterweights at the beginning while people are filling the seats.
Joe Walsh, how do you respond to that? He's the title fight on a welterweight card. It's true, isn't it? The other 8 are playing for second. That's it. Nothing else. No point to it.
I agree with Erin. There's no point for him to be there. I'd rephrase why. He's the cult leader of a really powerful cult. And barring a jail cell or a heart attack, Donald Trump's going to be the Republican Party nominee, 1 indictment or 100 indictments. He can do no wrong, I mean no wrong, to a decent chunk of the Republican Party base.
You said barring a heart attack or a cell, but we know, do we not, and tell me if I'm wrong, both of you, under American law, he could become the next president and still be in jail, for God's sake. Is that all right?
Absolutely. Yes. I don't think that any of these trials due to due process concerns for any criminal defendant will occur before the election. And by the way, for 2 of the 4 cases, he would be able to pardon himself. But I believe that he is going to be the nominee, and there's very little we can do to stop it. I think the biggest reason why he has so much support, a large segment of this country had a massive distrust for politicians, and they found someone in Donald Trump who said, I think this person is speaking to me. It made a demographic of the population wake up and realize, hey, there is a swamp in Washington, and there is some distrust in the mainstream media. And these people are viciously and happily loyal to Donald J. Trump.
Let's just talk about that debate, Joe, if we can, last night. I mean, 8 people and 6. I've got this clip. When asked, even if Donald Trump was convicted, how many of you would support him? Watch this. 6 hands went up.
Former President Trump is convicted in a court of law. Would you still support him as your party's choice? Please raise your hand if you would.
So from this side of the pond, it says to me that Donald Trump has such power over the Republican Party that nobody has the political nous to stand up and say, begone, let's sweep with a new brush and start again. To me, from this side of the pond, your country of 312 million people will pick between a man who doesn't know his name and a man who apparently is a disgrace and could end up in jail. That doesn't say a lot globally, does it, Joe?
I'll let my
No, it
colleague
doesn't.
answer, and I do have an answer to that as well.
It
Go ahead.
doesn't.
Sorry.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It says, and the world needs to know this, America's in a hell of a lot of trouble. We have two major political parties. And right now, one of our major political parties is led by a criminal, somebody who's been indicted 4 times. Donald Trump said years ago, I could shoot somebody in the middle of New York City and I won't lose any support. That's still true. In fact, it's even truer now. He's moved beyond a cult leader for Republicans. He's a martyr. He's a full-fledged martyr. And Jeremy, you can't move beyond that moment. That's important, and it's nothing to celebrate. 6 or 7. You know, I don't know what Chris Christie was doing there. He kind of raised his hand too. But 6 or 7 of 8 candidates said that they would vote to send a convicted criminal back to the White House. That is a party, Jeremy, that doesn't give a damn about the rule of law.
But can I jump in before you do it, Erin? Erin, can I just jump in? Can I just jump in? I mean, I have to balance both sides, and you've had your say, Joe, but the Democrats, can they seriously look themselves in the mirror? You look at Hunter Biden, and you look, I suspect, at how a lot of that has not been talked about by the liberal media, and you question, actually, whether the left or the right have anything about them in the United States right now.
Amen, and I agree. Jeremy, look, investigate everybody. If there's suspicion or potential evidence that Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, anybody committed crimes, then pursue it. The point is, we're at the point with Trump where it's been determined that there's credible evidence. We may get there one day with Biden. We're not there yet.
Erin, just to finish this, a lot of people, Trump supporters, would say it's very imbalanced. It's always about Donald Trump. They've never looked at the Democrats. Your response to that?
The problem is we live in a country with a constitutional republic. And if I go through these charges, and I know we don't have time, case by case, there are so many problems and dissimilarities and special treatment that Donald Trump is receiving in a negative way. We do not have free speech if your name is Donald Trump. And I do believe that you're having the political party in power and their DOJ prosecuting their biggest political adversary. So to say that as a country that we're in trouble, I think the trouble is they're not just coming for Donald Trump. Everyone else is next. We are supposed to be the freest nation in the world. And by prosecuting Donald Trump, several people, many people, millions of people think that it reeks of political corruption and makes us like a third world dictatorship banana republic, and that's very sad.
I always say, and I'm very grateful for you both being on, I always say on my own show that we should never forget that in the last election in 2020, whatever the criticisms, 76 million of your countrymen and women, which is more than live in the United Kingdom, voted for this man. By the way, can I tell you both, this just out on Truth Social, Donald Trump has just said he expects to be arrested at 7:30 p.m. local time in Atlanta, Georgia, which will be midnight here in the UK. We will, of course, keep you updated throughout that. Just one final question, because I've sort of done this up. Can we imagine what that mugshot of Donald Trump will look like? I think we've got something on screen here, my friends. Have we got something up, Hals? Oh, you haven't done it for me. Oh, there we go. Erin, Joe, thank you so much indeed for your time on Uncensored tonight. Very grateful. And for all of you watching, as I've said, we will certainly keep you updated with that news just in. Donald Trump saying he expects to be arrested at 7:30 p.m. local time in Atlanta.